What's up, gearheads? Welcome to the free edition of Moron Money. Every Friday, we do this here on YouTube. If you want to check out more, go to patreon.com/blindmike. We do 2 extra Moron Monies every week, at least. I think this week we did 3. And then, of course, the Blind Mike Project and all sorts of other stuff on patreon.com/blindmike if you want to check that out. But we've got much more important business to tend to right now, as it's been quite a week. Earnings week in the stock market, so we'll talk about that. And we'll get to some price news with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano as well. But I do want to talk about the stock market a little bit because I often think earnings week can be a good time to buy. It's also, it's a time that a lot of people sell, obviously, to take profits on positive earnings. I imagine there were some people selling Facebook this week on their great earnings results. But I think it can often be a good time to buy because a lot of people panic for seemingly no real reason or no reason that will really impact these companies. So Facebook was probably the most positive. Everyone was talking about Facebook today. Facebook this week influenced the Bitcoin price, I guess, because there was a rumor that Facebook was going to announce that they had Bitcoin on their balance sheet, and then they didn't announce it. So the price in Bitcoin actually dipped, which is nonsense to me. It's a made up rumor that someone created and then it didn't happen. So people sold. It seems idiotic. But again, that kind of contributes to my theory that earnings are a little overrated. A real financial guy will tell you why I'm crazy, but I just mean from a making money on stock standpoint. So the two that interested me, and the reason I think it's a good time to buy, Twitter and Netflix, both down. Twitter yesterday missed their subscription numbers. Netflix, similar tale, that both of these companies did not hit their goals of subscription rate growth, subscription growth rate, whatever you want to call it. So the reason I am buying Twitter today is because I kind of like what they're doing. I don't love a lot about Twitter. I hate being on Twitter, first and foremost, but also I hate their whole model as far as, censorship and policies with language. I do really hate that. However, the thing that kind of drew me to Twitter was the big dip that so Twitter's dip is based more on sales numbers. They didn't hit their marks as far as digital advertising. But what's encouraging to me about Twitter is there seems to be rumblings. They're implementing basically a tip jar, which on the surface sounds very silly. They kind of bill it as being, I always record this when I'm supposed to take my meds. It really makes you wonder who you're listening to, huh, gearheads? What was I saying? Tip jar. Yeah, it sounds silly on the surface. The idea that you're tipping people for a good tweet, an attaboy on some woke stance that you took. But what I see it as is them kind of trying to become Patreon. And at least as far as I can tell, you can use Patreon as well as Venmo, Square, PayPal, Cash App for tipping. And what I see that becoming is essentially like OnlyFans, where you can support content creators that you like. Now, this is a weird area because the reason I'm buying Twitter is this whole idea. However, my fear with any of these platforms, Patreon being at the top of the list, I worry that Twitter is only going to allow certain types of subscribers. In fact, I would almost guarantee it. So that's something to be cautious of, although I thought it was a bit of a positive when I saw that news. So looking at Twitter today, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Also, leave any in the comments because the comments do help the algorithm as well as likes. So make sure you hit all of those. But leave in the comments anything you see dipping this week that you're buying in on earnings week. And the other big stock that interests me that is on the downfall is Netflix. They've been kind of stagnant for the last few months, and they're really, they had like this earnings, the fact that they missed their subscription numbers. Subscriptions went up, revenue went up for Netflix, but they missed their prediction on subscription growth. And part of the problem there is so many people signed up for Netflix this time last year because of coronavirus. So I'm not saying it's not their fault, but I was about to say it's not their fault. Of course it is, but my point is that I don't see either Netflix or Twitter collapsing. That's the main thing you have to look at with earnings. Is it a trend? Are these companies on the downfall, or are people panicking because of one bad quarter, or not even necessarily one bad quarter, but one quarter that didn't meet expectations? And that's what I think the case is with Netflix. So I think both Netflix and Twitter are a buy in my book. But remember, folks, this is not financial advice. It's for entertainment purposes and to hopefully give you a little information that can lead to you doing your own research and then coming back here, letting me know in the comments what you think of what I said. So go look into those, go look into the dips, see if you agree with my take on the Twitter subscription platform. And also, another reason I'm positive on Netflix is they're talking about entering the video game space. And this was a weird thing. I should mention this. This is a weird thing Netflix did, is that because of this dip that they've been on, they're buying back up to $5 billion in shares, which seems like an odd move for a company that has the amount of debt that Netflix has. You would think that would go to more content, buying other subscription services, which I think you'll see that really start to happen in the future here, where these main, Disney Plus, Netflix, and Amazon start to buy up a bunch of other smaller streaming services to own, essentially every title out there. And I guess Paramount and Peacock will be in the mix as well. Not so much for me, but maybe for someone. And streaming is just a good market to get, a good sector to get into right now. So look at that. Also, in comparison to Netflix, I believe Roku is down like 25%. If you want to take a look at that as well. So let me know your thoughts in the comments on everything going on in the stock market. If you think I had two good buys today. Also, before we move into crypto, just keep an eye on a couple things we mention a lot here. I talk about APHA a lot. Today, the merger should become official with Tilray, so keep an eye on that. And all indications suggest that Tilray stock will be down after the merger announcement. So might be a good time to buy. Look at Tilray if you like them. And APHA stock holders will get a percentage of Tilray. The company will become Tilray. So keep an eye on that merger. I think that could be very big. I talk about APHA a lot. I'm very high on APHA. And the other is Altria. By the way, ticker code for APHA is APHA, and the ticker code for Altria makes it a little easier, MO. So Altria, the tobacco company that we've talked about a lot, is hitting the skids. They've been on a dip as well, because they had some losses at earnings, and sales are down because of people fleeing the cigarette market. However, Altria just made a deal to fully acquire what do they call it? A smokeless nicotine company, basically. So I think they're doing all the right things. They're in the cannabis sector as well, as well as the alcohol market. So they're doing all the right things to offset people moving away from cigarettes. However, the FDA talking about possibly banning flavored cigars, and certain types of tobacco. That could be rough news for Altria. So keep an eye on that as well. I don't really think it's going to happen. I think the tobacco market will always be there. People will always be addicted, although the numbers are going down. Like my generation does not smoke nearly as much as our parents' generation. So that is something to watch for with Altria. But they do pay a good dividend yield. So keep an eye on that. If you want to buy the dip on Altria as well, ticker MO. And I think that about covers it for the stock market, at least today. But like I said, let me know your thoughts in the comments. And then, of course, we've got crypto. A big week for Ethereum, hitting an all-time high of $2,800. And now the talk is that Ethereum is going to surpass Bitcoin. Now, Ethereum would have to more than triple to do that, which is not impossible, but by all indications, now this is where it gets tricky because now people are saying that um, based on 2017, if you go back to 2017, everyone compares this year to 2017. We're on the exact same trend as far as the charts indicate. So if you believe that, there was the exact same talk going on at this point in 2017, where people said the flippening they called it, where Ethereum is going to surpass Bitcoin, and that was all the talk. Obviously, it didn't happen, and now here we are with Bitcoin having $1 trillion market cap. I don't believe it's going to happen either. But again, and all the other thing is that the charts would suggest that if we get to a $3,000 Ethereum, that's when it's really going to take off. So that's where you get the flippening talk. Um, so the main reason, and JP Morgan put out a statement about this, the main reason Ethereum is on such a hot streak is because we've talked about this a lot over the last few weeks. This layer 2 solution seems to be working. The gas fees are down. It is a lot easier to use Ethereum now. And that possibly also means some of these smart contracts that are on Ethereum may not be leaving for Cardano or Polkadot or these other platforms. So that's very good news for Ethereum. There's also good news in the world of Cardano, which we'll get to in a second. But I do wonder if that means if Ethereum is able to wipe out that gas fee, or at least the crazy fees that have been going on, if they're able to eliminate that to an extent, then I don't know that they'll ever pass Bitcoin, but it's certainly a worthy investment. So where that gets tricky is I generally don't like investing in something at an all-time high. I think that can be dangerous. But the tough thing there is, well, then if we get to 3,000, well, then if we get to on and on. So that's where I recommend dollar cost averaging. If you're not into Ethereum yet, it might be a good time, but it also may be a tough time to invest all your money allotted to Ethereum. You may not want to invest all the money you can spend on Ethereum. And as always, never invest more than you can afford. That would be silly. But more than you can afford to lose, I mean, of course. And with Ethereum, should you invest now? I would say if you're not in at all, might be a good time to buy a piece. And then I always recommend dollar cost averaging to kind of, keep yourself at a. I like to average down ideally, but sometimes in the world of crypto, we can't do that. Ethereum may take off here in the coming months, and it should be a big summer for DeFi as well. And then the one thing I always worry about DeFi is there room for multiple platforms? So if you don't know what Ethereum is it's essentially, if you ever watched Silicon Valley, what Richard Hendricks creates with the decentralized internet, it's more or less Ethereum. Um, they have the ability to use smart contracts and social networking and things like that, all decentralized, so you don't deal with a third party kind of dictating what you can do on there. And that's basically also what Cardano does. So Cardano just added 5 million new users to their platform in Ethiopia through the education system. 3,500 schools in Ethiopia, I believe, will be using the Cardano platform or the Cardano blockchain rather, for student IDs and grades and for job applications and all kind of things related to that, which is very interesting. We'll see how that works for Cardano. And we'll keep an eye on if any smart contracts leave Ethereum over the summer, or if some of the rumors you heard end up not being true because of what Ethereum has done for their gas fees. And the other thing I believe JP Morgan mentioned, and this we've been talking about as well, is that you're going to start seeing Ethereum burn. There's going to be more of a scarcity on Ethereum, which will add to its value as well. Now, if you listen to Mark Cuban, apparently it won't, because the reason Dogecoin is surging this week is because Mark Cuban said you don't need to have scarcity. In fact, the scarcity hurts Bitcoin in comparison to Doge. That seems silly to me. That's what the Cube Man said. Look into that, if you will. And I think it's a good week for crypto in the sense that in Joe Biden's speech, he talked about more spending, which has people worried about inflation. That is always good news for crypto, as people see it as a hedge against inflation. And there's been a lot more talk about that this week. So look into it. If you're watching this and you're a regular viewer, I can't imagine you're not at least dipping your toe into the world of cryptocurrency. So, and always make sure you're not investing more than you can. Buy the dips. Be a little conservative, and always remember when I fuck this quote up every time. This Warren Buffett quote: when others are fearful, be greedy, and when others are greedy, be fearful. That's why I talk about buying the dip on Twitter and Netflix and all that. So look into. Oh, the other thing I want to mention is you know, personally, and I think you know this if you've watched me enough, that I have no interest in trading. You can make your money trading, and you would have made a lot more money this week on Pancake Swap or something like that than by just holding Bitcoin. However, the reason I don't like things like that, the reason I don't like Safe Moon or Dogecoin is because they're not um, they don't seem to have the longevity, and we could be proven wrong about that. But the longevity and the sheer use that Bitcoin and Ethereum have, just seem more valuable. And I feel the same way about Cardano. Those all seem more valuable to me than the short-term fixes. So be careful with trading, as always. If you know what you're doing, good for you. I personally don't trust it, and I think generally, if you just hold on to stocks or tokens that you believe in, that long term, I think that eventually pays off for you. So let me know in the comments. Let me know if you have your strategies. A lot of people have asked me what service I use, and the other question I've gotten a lot is how much Doge coins should you hold? And the answer to the latter, I always say, is hold an amount of money that if I set it on fire, right in front of you, you wouldn't even piss on it to put it out, as they say. Um, like have a handful of Dogecoin that you won't miss if it goes to zero. But, especially because Cuban and Elon Musk are pumping it up for some reason, it makes me think there's something there. And we talked yesterday about Cuban's belief of Doge for transactions. So you can go listen to that on patreon.com/blind Mike. But my point is, if you have a little Doge, I don't fault you for it. And that's the same with all of those. Any of those, if you're a gambler and you want to take a chance on Safe Moon or Pancake Swap or any of that bullshit, then go for it. But my personal theory is, don't do any amount of money you'll miss. And as far as exchange, I use Uphold, but I've also started using BlockFi. Neither of these have everything. In fact, what you can have on BlockFi is very limited. I think it's Bitcoin, um, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Chainlink. So I can't even put my Cardano on there. But the reason I use it is because they pay a 5% interest on all of those cryptos, as well as, this feels like a scam, but it seems to be legitimate. An 8.6, or I believe it'll be going down in May. I think it's an 8% interest on USD. So if you put your money in there as USD coin or GUSD or Tether, if you're not in this country, then you can make 8% interest on your money, just keeping it as regular currency, not even making money off crypto. So look into BlockFi, BLOCKFI, and I use Uphold as well, and that doesn't have everything. I don't know if there's any exchange. I like what Binance is doing. Oh, this is what I meant to talk about earlier this week. Binance offering more stocks digitally. We talked about them offering digital Tesla stock. Now they're offering digital Apple, MicroStrategy, and there were one or two others I'm forgetting at the moment. But look into Binance because I like what they're doing with digital stocks as well as obviously cryptocurrency. So Binance, Uphold, I mean, Coinbase is kind of the general, I guess that's the Robin Hood of crypto, where it's kind of easy to use, and that's what most people are on. Um, but there's a million exchanges, and like I said, none of them are going to have it. So put what you use. Help people out. If you use something that I haven't mentioned, then throw it in the comments and let us know. I think that about covers it for this week. We'll be back on Sunday on patreon.com/blind Mike. And then, the Blind Mike Project for free out Monday for you cheapskates. And then we do all kinds of stuff on Patreon. So check that out. And I think that's it. Until then, we'll just keep making money.